Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your cruise news update, and we have a passenger that wants to bribe their way onto an excursion. Would you take this offer to rebook just 2 days before your cruise? And if you use Google, you need to be aware of this new cruise scam. So cruise story number 1, do you like to zip line? And have you ever tried the Dragon's Breath zip line in Labadee, Haiti? So a passenger posted this on a Royal Caribbean board and they were super excited about trying this zip line. They said though, they may be a few pounds overweight and they asked how strict was Royal Caribbean within the weight limits. So the weight limits are 75 to 275 pounds. Now this isn't some small zip line. It's 2,600 feet long. It is the longest zip line over water in the world and gets up to 50 miles an hour. So obviously they have to have some restrictions in place. People responded and said, hey, my son was 1 pound underweight and they wouldn't allow him on. Another said they were 2 pounds overweight and they weren't allowed on. They followed up this question, and this has to be one of the most mind-blowing questions I think I've ever seen asked. Hey, do you think if I gave a $100 tip, basically a bribe, you think the person weighing me would basically look in the other direction? Can you imagine someone doing this? People asked, why on earth would you put your life at risk just to ride a zip line? Of course they're not going to look in the other direction. These weight limits are put in there for safety reasons. Now, you follow the news at all, or you're in the Central Florida area, you know about 2 years ago, a young man was allowed on a ride here in Orlando, and they were overweight for it. And unfortunately, they fell to their death. Terribly tragic situation. They didn't follow the rules that the manufacturer put in place. So, obviously, this is something that Royal Caribbean is not going to allow. Now, I have to tell you, I've had it booked 3 times, and each time I chicken out. I can't do it. It's just not going to be able to happen. If you've done it and you love it, let me know in the comments. So cruise story number 2, and imagine you're 2 days away from your cruise. You know the feeling, you're super excited, you're finalizing all your packing, and then you get a phone call from the cruise line. But it's not a bad phone call. And they say, hey, look, we've overbooked your cruise. And we're looking for people that will rebook. So we're willing to offer you a 100% refund on your cruise. And anytime in the next 2 years, you can rebook a cruise up to the same dollar amount as this current cruise, and we'll pay for it. So if it's a $3,000 cruise, you get a $3,000 cruise free. And this was from Princess Cruise Line. Do you accept? Now, the gentleman said that posted this on a Princess board said, my temperatures are going to be close to 0 next week. There's no way I'm accepting this offer. I want to be on a cruise ship in the Caribbean laying out in the sun. And that offer wasn't even close to being where I would accept it. Now, others said they agreed with this because having to deal with flights and hotels just wasn't a sweet enough a deal. But others that live in Florida said, hey, drive down the day of my cruise. I'm 100% taking it. Do you take the offer? And have you ever been offered something like this? So I am seeing this a lot lately, so this might be another trend, is I've seen it 4 times in 3 days. Princess, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival, where passengers said they got offers because the cruise ships were overbooked. Have you ever received this kind of offer, and did you accept it? So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. If you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and if you use Google, you need to be aware of this, as this is a scam warning. So a passenger said they were calling up Carnival Cruise Line because they needed to make a name change for their daughter that just got married. And they Googled Carnival Cruise Line's phone number. And when they did, they got an operator on the other end, and they said, hey, these are the documents we'll need, and it will be $456. And they were pressuring them. They had to have it done today. And they're like, you wouldn't even known about this. Something doesn't feel right here. So they hung up. They went to Google and they searched Carnival Cruise Line, And under Carnival Cruise Line, they looked for the phone number there. And it was a different phone number. When they got to the agent with Carnival, they said that the agent took care of it free of charge. Not a big deal. They just had to send some documents in, and they put a warning out there. They said this was the 10th phone call that day that someone was trying to be scammed. Now, others in the comments said, had it happen on Royal, had it happen on Norwegian, same thing with Princess Cruise Line. This is just a scam out there. So if you need to call the cruise line directly, make sure you're getting their phone number off their official website. Do not say, "Hey Siri," or "Hey Google," and get that phone number, or type it in, because many times it's wrong and you have a scammer on the other end. Isn't that crazy? Another thing we have to watch out for. But I've seen this now 3 times in the past couple months, so just be aware of this, folks. Don't want you to lose out on your money. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again so much for the continued support. And until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.